The rain hammered against the tall windows of the sprawling estate in the hills outside Seattle, each drop streaking down the glass like tears that refused to stop. I stood there in the dim glow of the hallway lamp, arms wrapped around myself, staring out the dark forest that surrounded the property. My husband, Richard, had been gone only 3 days, his ashes now resting in the marble urn on the mantel in the great room. He had been 62, kind in his distant way, generous with everything except passion. I was 28, still carrying the faint scent of the funeral flowers on my black silk dress, the fabric clinging to curves that felt almost foreign now, as if grief had made my body someone else's. The house was too big, too quiet. Every creak of the old wooden floors echoed like accusations. I had married Richard 5 years earlier, a whirlwind romance born from desperation on my part and convenience on his. He gave me security, a life far removed from the cramped apartment I would shared with roommates in Portland. In return, I gave him companionship, a beautiful ornament for his arm at charity galas. We never had children together, but he had a son from his first marriage, Ethan, 22, home from college for the funeral and apparently in no hurry to leave. I felt him before I heard him, a shift in the air, the faint scent of cedar cologne and rain-damp wool. Ethan stepped into the hallway behind me, barefoot, shirt untucked, sleeves rolled to his elbows. His dark hair was still wet from the storm he had been out in earlier, checking the generators or something equally practical. He was tall, broad-shouldered, built like someone who spent more time in the gym than in lecture halls. His eyes, gray, sharp, unreadable, found mine in the reflection of the window. "You should rest, Mom," he said, voice low and steady. The word Mom landed strangely between us, a formality we both knew was paper thin. I had never been his mother. I was only 6 years older. He had called me by my first name, Elena, in private moments when Richard was not around. Now the title felt like a deliberate weapon. "I am fine," I lied, not turning around. My reflection showed pale skin, dark circles under my eyes, lips still painted the deep red I would worn to the service. The dress hugged my breasts and hips in a way that suddenly felt obscene in this house of mourning. Ethan moved closer, not touching, but close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from him. "You do not have to pretend with me. Dad's gone. The house is ours now." Ours. The word hung heavy. I swallowed. "It is your father's house. Always has been." He let out a soft laugh, not cruel but knowing. "He left it to both of us. You know that." The will was clear. I finally turned. His face was inches from mine, eyes locked on my mouth before drifting lower, tracing the swell of my chest beneath the silk. My breath caught. This was not the boy I would watch grow from awkward teenager to college athlete. This was a man, and the hunger in his gaze was unmistakable. "Ethan," I said, voice sharper than I intended, "go to bed." He did not move. Instead, he reached out, fingers brushing a damp strand of hair from my cheek. The touch was light, almost tender, but it sent electricity racing down my spine. "You have been crying," he murmured, "or trying not to." I stepped back, bumping into the windowsill. I said, "I am fine." "You are not." His hand dropped, but his eyes stayed on me, intense, patient, like a predator waiting for the right moment. "You are 28. Beautiful. Trapped in a mausoleum with a ghost and a stepson who sees you for what you really are." My heart pounded. "And what is that?" "A woman who has been starving for years." He leaned in, breath warm against my ear. "Dad never touched you the way you needed. Did he?" Heat flooded my face. I wanted to slap him, to scream, to run. Instead, I stood frozen as his fingers grazed the bare skin of my collarbone, just above the neckline of the dress. The contact was brief, deliberate. My nipples tightened against the silk, traitorous. Stop, I whispered. He pulled back slightly, studying me. You are shaking. I am cold. Liar. A small, dangerous smile curved his lips. I will make you tea. Or something stronger. You should not be alone tonight. Before I could protest, he walked away, leaving me trembling against the window. The rain kept falling, relentless. I pressed my forehead to the cool glass and tried to ignore the ache blooming low in my belly, the shameful pulse between my thighs. That night I lay in the enormous bed I had once shared with Richard, sheets cold on the empty side. Sleep would not come. Every creak of the house sounded like footsteps. When the door finally opened soft, almost hesitant, I knew it was him. Ethan stood in the doorway, backlit by the hallway light. He wore only sweatpants, chest bare, muscles shifting as he breathed. In his hand was a mug, steam curling upward. Could not sleep either, he asked quietly. I pulled the sheet higher, covering the thin nightgown that did nothing to hide my body. You should not be here. I brought chamomile. Helps with nightmares. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. The click of the latch felt final. Ethan. He crossed to the bed, set the mug on the nightstand, and sat on the edge of the mattress. Too close. His thigh brushed mine through the sheet. Tell me to leave, he said. And I will. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. He reached out, tucked a lock of hair behind my ear. His thumb lingered on my jaw. You are so fucking beautiful when you are scared, he whispered. My breath hitched. Shame and desire twisted together, impossible to separate. He leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to stop him. I did not. His lips brushed mine soft at first, testing. Then deeper, hungrier. His hand slid to the back of my neck, fingers threading through my hair, tilting my head. I gasped into his mouth, and he took the sound like a victory. The kiss turned feral. Teeth, tongue, hands roaming. He pushed me back against the pillows, body covering mine, heavy and hot. The sheet twisted between us. His mouth moved to my throat, sucking hard enough to leave marks. I arched, fingers digging into his shoulders, torn between pushing him away and pulling him closer. Tell me to stop, he growled against my skin. I did not. His hand slipped beneath the nightgown, palm rough against my breast. He kneaded, thumbs circling the nipple until I whimpered. Lower still, fingers tracing the edge of my panties, finding me already wet. He groaned, low and primal. You want this, he said, not a question. I closed my eyes, tears slipping free. Yes. He stripped the nightgown over my head in one motion, leaving me bare beneath him. His gaze devoured me, breasts heaving, stomach quivering, thighs parting almost involuntarily. He kissed down my body, slow, deliberate. When his mouth closed over one nipple, I cried out. When his fingers slid inside me, curling, I shattered almost immediately, sobbing his name. He did not stop. He shed his sweatpants, cock hard and thick against my thigh. He positioned himself, eyes locked on mine. Say it, he demanded. I want you, I whispered, broken. He thrust in, deep, filling me completely. Pain and pleasure collided. He moved slowly at first, letting me adjust, then faster, harder. The bed creaked beneath us. Rain lashed the windows. I clung to him, nails raking his back, legs wrapped around his waist as wave after wave crashed through me. When he came, it was with a guttural sound, bearing himself to the hilt, pulsing inside me. We stayed like that, tangled, sweating, breathing hard. Afterward, he held me against his chest, fingers tracing lazy circles on my spine. This is not over, he murmured. Not even close. I said nothing. Guilt clawed at me, but the ache between my legs was louder. Morning came gray and heavy. Ethan brought breakfast on a tray: coffee, fruit, toast. He kissed me like it was normal, like we had always been this way. I let him. The house felt different now, smaller, hotter. Every room carried the echo of last night. He touched me constantly, hand on my lower back, while we walked the halls, fingers brushing my thigh under the table, lips grazing my neck when he thought no one could see. But someone could. The estate manager, Mrs. Hargrove, had worked for Richard for decades. Her eyes narrowed when she saw us together in the kitchen, Ethan's arm around my waist. She said nothing, but the disapproval was palpable. I tried to pull away. Ethan only tightened his grip. "She is loyal to the family," he said later, when we were alone. "She will keep quiet." I wanted to believe him. Days blurred. Ethan took over more meetings with lawyers, decisions about the estate. He moved into the master bedroom with me, as if it had always been ours. Nights were endless, his hands, his mouth, his body claiming every inch of mine. I told myself it was comfort, grief, temporary madness. But deep down I knew better. The first crack appeared when Richard's old friend, Daniel, arrived unannounced. A silver-haired attorney from San Francisco, handsome in a quiet way, carrying condolences and a bottle of vintage Bordeaux. He hugged me too long, eyes kind. Ethan watched from the doorway, jaw tight. That evening, after Daniel left, Ethan pinned me against the wall in the study. "You smiled at him," he said, voice dangerous. "He is a friend. He wants you." His hand slid between my legs, possessive. "But you are mine." I moaned despite myself. He took me right there, rough, angry, whispering threats and promises against my ear. I came hard, hating how much I loved it. The storm was building. I could feel it. The days after that first night blurred into a fever dream. Ethan moved through the house like he owned every shadow, every room, every inch of me. Mornings began with his mouth on my neck before I was fully awake, his hands sliding under the sheets to pull me against him. He took me slowly then, savoring every gasp, every shudder, whispering how perfect I felt wrapped around him. Afternoons were quieter, stolen moments in the library, my back against the bookshelves while he knelt between my thighs, tongue relentless until my knees buckled. Evenings ended in the master bedroom, lights low, bodies slick with sweat as he drove into me harder, deeper, claiming what he insisted had always been his. I told myself it was grief, a temporary madness born from loneliness and the shock of widowhood. But the truth was uglier. I craved him, the way his eyes darkened when he looked at me, the possessive grip of his fingers on my hips, the low growl in his throat when he came inside me. It filled a void Richard had never touched. He was careful at first. No marks where anyone could see. No sounds loud enough to carry through the thick walls. But restraint frayed quickly. One afternoon I found him in the home gym, shirtless, sweat glistening on his chest as he finished a set of pull-ups. I stood in the doorway, wearing the silk robe he had chosen for me, that morning short, barely tied, the fabric whispering against my skin with every breath. He dropped to the floor, eyes raking over me. "Come here." I hesitated. "Mrs. Hargrove is still in the house. She is in the East Wing. Laundry." He crooked a finger. "Now." I crossed the room. He pulled me onto his lap on the weight bench, robe falling open, his hands cupped my breasts, thumbs brushing my nipples until they peaked. "You are always so ready for me," he murmured, sliding one hand between my legs. "Soaking already." I bit my lip to stifle a moan as his fingers circled my clit. He kissed me hard, swallowing the sound. When I came, trembling against his chest, he lifted me onto the bench, spread my thighs, and buried himself inside me in one thrust. The metal was cold against my back. His body was fire. He fucked me fast, desperate, whispering filthy promises about how he would never let me go. Afterward, he held me there, still inside me, softening slowly. "You are mine, Elena." "Say it." "I am yours," I whispered, hating how easily the words came. He kissed my forehead. "Good girl." The guilt arrived in waves. I avoided mirrors, afraid of what I would see: flushed cheeks, swollen lips, the faint bruises blooming on my inner thighs. I avoided Richard's study, where his portrait still hung above the desk. But Ethan had no such qualms. He fucked me on that desk one evening, paper scattering, my legs wrapped around his waist while he stared at the portrait over my shoulder. "Look at him," he growled, thrusting deeper. "He never made you scream like this." I came crying, shame and pleasure twisting into something unbearable. Daniel returned a week later, this time with paperwork updates on the estate, tax implications, investment portfolios. He arrived in a tailored suit, silver hair neatly combed, carrying the calm authority of a man who had known Richard for decades. We met in the formal sitting room. Ethan sat beside me on the sofa, arm draped casually over the back, fingers brushing my shoulder. Every touch felt branded. Daniel's eyes flicked to Ethan's hand, then to me. "You look well, Elena." "Considering." "I am managing," I said, voice thin. Ethan's fingers tightened slightly. "She is doing better than managing. I have been taking care of her." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "I am sure you have." The conversation turned to business. Ethan answered most questions, his tone confident, almost territorial. When Daniel suggested I might want to travel, perhaps Europe, to clear my head, Ethan's jaw clenched. "She does not need to go anywhere," he said. "Everything she needs is right here." Daniel looked at me directly. "Is that true, Elena?" I opened my mouth. Ethan's hand slid to my thigh under the throw blanket, squeezing a warning, a promise. "Yes," I said softly. "It is true." Daniel stayed for dinner. The dining room felt smaller with 3 of us at the long table. Ethan poured wine, served food, played the perfect host. But under the table his foot nudged mine, then higher, pressing against my core through my dress. I gripped the edge of the table, trying to keep my breathing even. After dessert, Daniel excused himself to make a call. Ethan leaned close. "You were wet the whole time he was talking to you." "Stop," I hissed. He smiled. "Make me." When Daniel returned, Ethan excused us both, said I looked tired. He led me upstairs, straight to the bedroom. The door had not even closed before he had me against it, dress hiked up, panties shoved aside. He took me standing, one hand over my mouth to muffle my cries, the other pinning my wrists above my head. "You liked him looking at you," he growled. "Admit it." "No." "Liar." He thrust harder. "You are dripping for me because you know no one else gets to have this." I came shuddering, tears in my eyes. He followed, biting my shoulder hard enough to mark. Later, lying in the dark, he traced the bite with his tongue. "Daniel wants you. I can see it. But he will never touch what is mine. He is just being kind. He is old enough to be your father. Like Dad was." Ethan's voice hardened. "You think he could fuck you like I do, make you come until you can't breathe?" I turned away. He pulled me back, spooning me tightly. "You are not leaving this house. Not for him. Not for anyone." Sleep came fitfully. I dreamed of Richard's face, disappointed. I woke to Ethan's hand between my legs again, coaxing me open. I let him. I always let him. The storm hit 2 nights later. Thunder rattled the windows. Lightning turned the room stark white. I hated storms had since childhood. Richard used to hold me through them, patient but detached. Ethan was different. He found me curled in the window seat, knees to chest. Without a word, he scooped me up, carried me to bed. Lightning flashed as he stripped us both, skin against skin. He entered me slowly this time, rocking gently, whispering against my ear, "I have got you. Nothing can touch you here." I clung to him as thunder rolled. Each crash seemed to drive him deeper. When I came, it was with a sob, body shaking. He held me through it, then kept moving until he spilled inside me, groaning my name like a prayer. After, he did not let go. "Tell me you love this," he murmured. The word stuck. "Say it." "I love it," I whispered. He kissed me softly. "That is my girl." But the next morning, Mrs. Hargrove's gaze lingered too long on the fresh mark on my neck. She said nothing, but I felt the judgment like ice. Daniel called later that week. He wanted to meet for lunch in the city to discuss options for the future. I agreed before I could think. When I told Ethan, his face went blank. "You are not going." "It is just lunch." "Business." He stepped close, crowding me against the kitchen counter. "You think I do not know what he wants. He sees a beautiful young widow with a fortune. He wants to play savior. He is a friend." Ethan's hand slid up my thigh, under my skirt. "You are wet just thinking about defying me." I gasped as his fingers found me. "Ethan." He rubbed slow circles. "Cancel it, or I will make sure he knows exactly who you belong to." I came against his hand, trembling. Then I texted Daniel to cancel. That night Ethan fucked me on the kitchen island, lights blazing, windows dark. No hiding, no shame, just raw need. But the cracks were spreading. Mrs. Hargrove started avoiding eye contact. Daniel sent a discreet email. "If you ever need to talk away from the house, my door is open." I deleted it. Ethan checked my phone later. He did not mention it, but his touch turned rougher, more possessive. The storm inside me was building too. I did not know how much longer I could pretend this was love. The illusion shattered slowly at first, like cracks in fine china. Whispers reached me through the estate's iron gates, neighbors gossiping at the local market, eyes following me when I ventured into town for groceries. The young widow and her stepson, they would say, voices low but cutting. Too close. Too soon after Richard's passing. I felt the weight of their judgment like a shroud, heavier than the black dresses I would packed away. Mrs. Hargrove was the first to crack inside the house. One morning, as I sipped coffee in the sunroom, she placed a folded newspaper on the table. "You might want to see this, madam." Her tone was neutral, but her eyes held pity and disgust. The article was from a local tabloid, tech tycoon's widow entangled with stepson. Grainy photos accompanied Ethan and me walking the grounds, his arm around my waist, another of us on the porch, his hand too low on my back. Anonymous sources claimed inappropriate affection. My stomach twisted. I crumpled the paper, but the damage was done. Ethan laughed when I showed him. Small minds in a small town. Ignore it. But he did not ignore it. His touches grew bolder, more public. In the kitchen with Mrs. Hargrove nearby, he would press me against the counter, lips on my neck. "Let them talk," he would murmur. "They are jealous." I pulled away more often now. "This is not right, Ethan. We have to stop." His eyes flashed. "Stop. You think you can just walk away after everything." That night he was rougher, pinning me down, taking what he wanted without the tenderness that had once masked his control. I lay awake afterward, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a prisoner in my own home. Daniel called again, voice concerned. I saw the article. "Elena, if you need help legal, anything, say the word." Ethan overheard. He grabbed the phone, ended the call. "You are talking to him behind my back." "It is not like that." He slammed me against the wall. hand around my throat, not hard enough to bruise, but enough to terrify. You are mine. No one else gets to save you. Tears streamed down my face. This is not love, it is obsession. He released me, expression softening into that calculated vulnerability. I am sorry. I can't lose you. He dropped his knees, hugging my waist, face pressed against my stomach. Please. I love you. I stroked his hair, hating myself for the pity that surged. But doubt had rooted deep. The next blow came from Richard's sister, Aunt Lydia, a sharp-tongued matriarch from New York, guardian of the family name. She arrived unannounced, chauffeur Mercedes pulling up the drive. Behind her trailed lawyers in crisp suits, briefcases in hand. We met in the great room. Lydia's eyes cold. Appraising swept over me, lingering on the faint hickey peeking from my collar. Disgraceful, she spat. Richard, not even cold in his grave, and you are whoring yourself to his boy. Ethan stiffened beside me. Watch your mouth. She ignored him, signaling the lawyers. They spread documents on the coffee table, photos, more explicit than the tabloids. Us in the gym, half-clothed. In the library, my head thrown back in ecstasy. Videos too, timestamps from security cameras Ethan had sworn were off. My face burned. How? Anonymous tip, Lydia said. Does not matter. This ends now. Signed, these renounce your claim to the estate. Leave quietly or we go public. Courts, press, everything. You will be ruined. I trembled. The room spun. Ethan stepped forward, grabbing my hand publicly. She is not signing anything. We are together. I will marry her if I have to. Lydia laughed, harsh. Marry. She is your stepmother, you fool. The will stipulates moral conduct. This filth voids everything. Ethan's grip tightened. Then I will give it all up. We do not need the money. We have each other. But his eyes betrayed him, flickering with calculation, not devotion. In that moment, clarity hit like lightning. This was not love. It was conquest. Ethan did not want me. He wanted to eclipse his father, to possess what Richard had treasured as a trophy. I was the ultimate prize in his twisted game. Nausea rose. Let go, I whispered. He turned to me, shocked. Elena. I yanked my hand free. It is over. The room fell silent. Lydia's eyebrows rose. Ethan's face contorted rage, betrayal. You can't mean that. After everything I have done for you. Done to me, I corrected, voice steadying. You manipulated me. Used my grief, my loneliness. Threatened me. He lunged forward. I have videos. Proof of how much you wanted it. I will release them. Ruin you. Lydia's lawyers tensed, but I held up a hand. Do it. I would rather be ruined than trapped with you. He stared, disbelieving. You are bluffing. Try me. I turned to Lydia. I will sign. All of it. I want nothing from this place. She nodded, satisfied. Papers were signed in minutes, waivers, releases. I kept only my personal belongings, a small trust Richard had set aside pre-marriage. The estate, the fortune, it all reverted to the family trust, with Ethan as beneficiary under strict oversight. Ethan raged as I packed. You will come crawling back. You need me. I zipped the suitcase. I need myself more. Mrs. Hargrove helped carry my bags to the car Daniel had sent discreet, waiting at the gate. Ethan blocked the door. Do not do this. I looked at him one last time, the handsome face that had seduced me, the eyes that had held me captive. Goodbye, Ethan. He did not follow. The drive to Seattle was quiet. Daniel met me at a hotel, no questions, just a room key and a promise of legal support if needed. The scandal broke the next day, tabloids screaming, social media ablaze. Widow flees Stepson affair, photos, rumors, vitriol. I hid for weeks, changing numbers, avoiding mirrors. The marks faded from my skin, but the scars inside lingered. Therapy helped unpacking the manipulation, the coercion disguised as passion. I grieved Richard anew, grieved the woman I would been before Ethan twisted her. Months passed. I found a small apartment in Portland, a job at a gallery modest, but mine. No luxury, no shadows. The whispers followed, but they quieted. I learned to breathe again. Ethan tried once a letter, pleading, threatening. I burned it. Freedom tasted bitter at first, laced with loss, but as spring came, buds unfurling in the rain, I felt it sweeten. I walked alone, head high, no longer a widow's shadow or a stepson's obsession. I was Elena, and that was enough.